Hello, my name is Owen, and welcome to a quick review of Robin Hobb's Mad Ship. What I want to do is give a brief overview of the book's about, tell you things that I like, and tell you things that I didn't like. Jumping straight into it, for those of you that don't know, Mad Ship is book 2 in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, which is one of the many series in Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings series. So it's the second trilogy in this universe and second book of the second trilogy. And for those of you that stick around the channel, you know I'm a huge Robin Hobb fan. I'm a Robin Hobbyist, some would say. And this one is more of the same, and the same is great books. I think that one of the strongest things about Robin Hobb is that she is a great slice of life fantasy author, meaning that she's not afraid to make these about the characters and the characters first. So even though if the plot isn't moving at a breakneck speed, it's interesting, nuanced characters in a fantastic setting, and I think that's amazing. However, I'm going to be a little bit more critical on this book than maybe I have been to past other of her past books. Not to say that I didn't love it, that it wasn't a fantastic book, but I think when all of her books are of the highest quality so far, I feel like I gotta judge them compared to the other ones that I've read. And of all the, I guess this is now 5 Robin Hobb books that I've read, this one was probably my least favorite, or maybe tied for least favorite. And I think it's an interesting discussion as to why I think that. But just to get the remaining pros out of the way, like I said, the character work is still stellar. These are still very human characters with human flaws and human goals and ambitions, and you see yourself in almost all of them. And I think this is a fascinating ensemble cast, and it was great to spend more time with them. However, one of the downsides of Slice of Life is this sometimes unfocused feel, which I feel like a lot of people run into, and why not a lot of people love Slice of Life. And there was an issue too, or not an issue, but part of the Farseer trilogy, the first trilogy, was there was always the threat of the Red Ship Raiders, right? So the whole time you're like, when's Fitz gonna fight the Red Ship Raiders? It's a threat to the kingdom. They're so powerful, but she just continuously kicks that problem down the road and never has any of the characters like really address it until the last book. This one is like that as well, where we're not rushing to the end game like a lot of other epic fantasy books might do, but it's different in the sense that it's a little bit unclear where it's going. And I think that of all the other books that I read, I was thinking more and more about where is this going, which, being the second book in a trilogy, I have no doubts, having finished this book, that everything set up in book 2 is going to pay off in a fantastic way. I can't wait to see all these characters finally reach like the culmination of their character journeys and like interact with each other and like all like the future meetings. It's going to be amazing. But unlike Farseer, there is no giant threat that we're building to. There is really no like big confrontation that I feel like we've been leading up to that we're just taking a long time to get there. So it just has this like, it's just a very slight twinge of what is the point of all this? What's it all going to? Which, like I said, is not a bad thing, but the fact that I was thinking about it a lot when normally that doesn't bother me at all makes me think that maybe this book could have benefited from a more, not solid, but more concrete antagonist. Because one of the most interesting things about this series, and this is going to be spoilers, definitely for the first book and very slight spoilers for this book. One of the most fascinating characters in the series is Kenneth, the pirate, and if there was to be an antagonist for the majority of these characters, it would be Kenneth, right? Because Althea's whole journey is that she wants to be the captain of her family's live ship. And she doesn't get it in her inheritance, and then it gets taken by pirates. That's the end of the first book. So her whole thing is with Paragon and with Brashen is to build up, rebuild Paragon, and then take back her live ship from Kenneth. And then Malta and Kefria, they want Kyle to be freed from Kenneth. So it's really like, if Kenneth's POV was out of the question, it'd be undoubtedly this family of traders trying to get back their ship and free Kyle from the evil pirate. but it's interesting because we know Kenneth, and we're with his POV, and we're with the POV of Wintrow, who is another good character who grows to respect and like Kenneth. So it just adds a layer of character complexion to the whole thing that really throws the whole antagonist view into question, if that makes any sense. I think Kenneth is still one of the most complicated characters I've ever read because, man, the dude is dastardly. Let me just say that. I think he's fascinating, but he's not concrete good or evil. The first book, I'm like, man, this guy's a total ass. Then it's slowly, like, as Wintrow heals him and, like, they develop a relationship, kind of like a father-son, like he's protected. I'm like, wow, man, he's going to have a redemption arc, be a good guy. But then his internal thoughts are sometimes so evil and so selfish and so manipulative to Vivacia, to Wintrow, just to Etta as well. Like, the dude is, like, he has evil things, and, like, even Wintrow comments that he has bad intentions but always does good things, which I think is a really good twist on the dynamic of, like maybe, like, a well-intentioned person or, like, someone who's just straight up evil. Like, he's always doing good things, but we know it's just for the most selfish reasons. So it's like, is he good? Is he not good? But he's such a complex character that we don't want him to lose. And a lot of characters we like Vivacia, like Wintrow, also don't want him to lose. So are we being manipulated by him as well? And if we don't want him to lose, that means we don't want Althea to win, but we do want her to win. So it just kind of takes the momentum out of this confrontation, right? And it's a little bit, which I think is a good thing, a little bit of dread towards the thing, because it's like you're going to have an intersection of these two major groups of characters that we all love, and there's going to be a confrontation, and somebody has to win and somebody has to lose, or they're going to make up somehow. And if they make up, which I feel like they might have to, because there's no way, like, all of the characters will just, like, each half will just, like, kill the other half. And if it goes the way I'm thinking, where they're going to, like, meet up, they're going to, like, talk out their differences, come up with a solution somehow, then it's not really an antagonist, so it kind of takes the sails out, no pun intended, takes the sails out of this tension, this buildup, because I feel no rush for Althea and Brashen to get to Kenneth, because we don't want to free Kyle, because Kyle's the real villain here, but we also want Malta's character arc of everything she does is to help, to try to free her father, to try to become a woman in her own right, which I feel like she has a great character development in this book. But I think it's interesting, and I can't pinpoint exactly how I would fix this problem, because like I said, the complexities of all the character dynamics is one of the best parts in the story. However, the fact that there is no urgency to resolve a lot of these plot lines in this book, coupled with the fact that I don't feel like it needs to be resolved, because I feel like if there was, like, a whole arc with, like, the serpents and then the ships and I'm just a little bit lost as to where we're going, and I don't know where I want it to go, which I feel like is the summary of what I'm trying to say, because I know I'm all over the place. And also, too, coupled with my kind of confused thoughts about this book, I have a hard time wrapping my head around the magic in this book. I feel like one of the strengths going back to Farseer trilogy was the skill and the wit felt very, very unique in terms of magic systems. And this whole trilogy so far has been about the mystery of live ships. What makes them come to life? What makes them think? What are they from? What do the serpents have to do with it? Their little, like, interludes throughout the book, like, what are they talking about? What exactly they mean? And it sheds a lot of light of that mystery in this book. But it's so vague and it's so soft magic in the sense that, like, there's no hard rules. It's not Brandon Sanderson. Everything's powered by, like, magic science. It's very loose, it's very vague, and I found a lot of the scenes where it's about, like, because a lot of this book is about memory and the power of memories and how, like, you can infuse your memories into something else, or you store them and you need them for your past. The ancestors can give the memories from the past to the future. It's all very vague, and then there's the scenes where, like, characters like Wintrow or characters like Malta get, like, infused with these memories, and I found those, and maybe it's supposed to be this way, I found all those sections very disorienting for me to picture what was going on, or to feel like the intensity, or feel like the, I don't know. I don't even know. It was just very disorienting, those passages, and I find it hard, because, like, they say, like, oh, like, too many memories, you'll get lost in memories or whatever. It's like, what does that mean? it's all in their heads, so I can't like picture anything in my imagination of what's happening to these characters. And I can't picture like the end game, I guess, because again, Realm of the Elderlings, we know Elderlings are dragons, so it's, at the end of the day, like Farseer Trilogy, it's about dragons one way or another. But I don't know if I want it to be about dragons too. And if I don't want it to be about dragons and there's no really other concrete confrontation that we're going to have, there's no Regal in this trilogy where it's like, okay, this guy's the defined bad guy that needs to be destroyed. If Kyle's the defined bad guy, he's already imprisoned and we don't want him freed, but a lot of our characters do want him freed. So it just feels like we're going to be repeating like a cycle of like the characters are going to free the character we don't like and they're going to have to realize that he's a bad guy. And then it's just like, okay, then we just wasted all of our time because we know a lot more information than half of the characters, but the half that we know is different for both different characters. It's a lot going on. I feel like either it could have used like a maybe like the Chalcidians, like the people who want to destroy Bingtown. If they were more personified, maybe that would help a little bit too. Although I don't feel like they're as threatening as the Red Ship Raiders in the first trilogy. I don't know, guys. That being said, I know I probably criticized it and just said basically my synopsis is that I was slightly confused and it feels a little bit unfocused. However, it's a fantastic book, and it does do a lot of setup. It does do a lot of character growth, and that's another strength. I think Malta in the first book is one of the most frustrating characters. I think this is really, even though it's called The Mad Ship, I feel like Paragon and Althea and Brashen weren't really in it as much as I thought they'd be. This is really Malta's book, I feel like, and she has a great growth, and she's really coming into her own and maturing, and she becomes a very competent character, I feel like, in this book. I feel like like Robin Hobb is so good at this coming-of-age type transition because she was so stubborn. She's so like your rebellious teen, rebellious kid, and the way that Hobb in this book was able to flip that into like her own strength and be able to get stuff done using the same personality traits, and it's very, very subtle. There's no like eureka moment for these characters. Hobb just knows like to sprinkle in these learning moments for these characters, and then eventually just turns into their strengths, like their former weaknesses, their former flaws, turn into their strengths and help them either like win the day or make the right decision and save someone's life. It's some of the most rewarding character stuff I've ever read, especially in fantasy, possibly ever. It's just the plot in this book, it's definitely transitory or transitionary. I think not transitory, transitionary. So it makes me incredibly excited for the third book, but it's a step towards the end. It's not a cliffhanger. It's not really a big build up. It's just characters growing so they could face whatever they're going to face in the last book, and I'm excited to get there. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you read this book, what did you think about what was your favorite parts? What characters did you connect with the most, I feel like, in this one? Do you agree that you think Malta maybe had the most growth out of all the characters? Fantastic book. I love Robin Hobb, and I'm more excited than ever to finish the trilogy. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like the video and want to see more like in the future. And as always, thanks for sticking around.